you need to have out your two sheets that we talked about yesterday in class. What I'm going to be doing is going through number 9 with you from your linear functions. Now before we begin, how many sections of graph am I going to have? I should have 1, 2, 3. I should have 3 different graphs going on. What these graphs are going to look like is this first one is going to be a slanty line. So that's a linear function. And I know that it's going to be slanting down because of this negative sign. This -4 takes that original parent function and shifts it down 4. And that's going to happen on the interval from x is less than -2. That means x is less than, right here is x equals -2. So when I get finished, I should have this negative line, this slanty line. It starts at the origin. And what does this do to my original parent function? Shifts me down 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. And that -x reflects this positive line, that positive parent function. It reflects it and turns it upside down. So now I'm going to be slanting negative. Normally, I'm over 1, down 1. Well, I know I need to be going up 1. So over 1, up 1. And I'm just going to keep plotting my line. Now normally this line goes forever both directions. But this interval up here says, okay, I know that is a line that goes on forever. But in this particular case, I only want to see the part of that line that is less than, my x value is less than -2. Well, my x value is less than -2 are these x values. So I only want to see this graph over here on the left-hand side of x equals -2. So when I finish graphing this, I mean, if you want to go ahead and put all these dotted lines, that is fine, but there's no sense in keeping on going this way. I only want to see this graph where x is less than -2. So right here on the boundary, this critical x value right here, x is equal to -2, is this an open circle or a closed circle? Well, look up here. There's no equal to symbol, so this should be an open circle. So I'm going to erase. I'm going to make this an open circle. And I know that my graph, this says it needs to be x is less than 2, or x is less than -2, so I need the part of that graph that's going negative. And this should be an open circle because of this right here. Okay, so there's the first part of this. Now if you want to leave that on there, that's fine, or you can erase it off. It really is not supposed to be there. That's why I did it in pencil. So the part of that graph that you see is this blue graph. This whole line is f of x equals -x minus 4, but I only want to see the part of that that is on the intervals x is less than -2. Now the next part of this equation is f of x equals -1/2 x. Well, again, that's a line. This negative sign makes me know that I'm going to be slanting negative. This 1/2 x takes me, and normally I'm over -1 up 1, but that 1/2 takes those y values and cuts them in half. So I'm going over 1 up 1/2. Over 2, I'm normally up 2 times 1/2 is 1. Over 3, normally I'm up 3, but 3 times 1/2 brings me to 1 1/2. Over 4, normally I'm up 4, but 4 times 1/2 is 2. See how that line's slanting negative? So I'm going to go back the other way. Here's 0. Normally I'm over 1, down 1, but I need to be at 1/2. Over 2, down 1. Over 3, down 1 1/2. Over 4, down 2. So I have that negative slant going on. But where do I want to see that line? My intervals are from x equals -2 to x equals +2. So the only part of this graph, instead of me seeing it go all the way from -infinity to +infinity, I only want to be seeing the part of that graph that is between -2 and +2. So I don't need this part. I don't need this part. I only want to see the part that's between -2 and +2. Now when I look up here, On those intervals at x equals -2, I need a closed circle. So I'm going to color that in. And on x equals +2, it includes that point also, so I'm going to color that in. And then I'm going to connect my points. So I need a colored in circle on each end. And then I'm going to connect my points. Do I need arrows on either one of these? I do not need arrows because this says that I only want that graph to be between -2 and +2. So no arrows. This is telling me that my x values have to be between -2 and 2. On this next graph, f of x equals -1. Now notice on these first two, there's an x there. Remember, that makes a slanty line. If you see f of x equals number, what kind of graph is that? That is a constant function. My graph should be a horizontal line down at -1. So I'm going to go down and I'm going to graph x equals -1. Now this is a horizontal line at x equals -1, or at y equals -1, excuse me. Do I need all of these y values though? Do I need this whole entire graph? Well, if this stuff wasn't here, I would need that entire graph because I would be going on forever. But this says I want to see f of x equals -1 where x is greater than 2. Well, where is x greater than 2? X is greater than 2 starting right here and going this way. There's my x values bigger than 2. X value smaller than 2 is on this side. I want to be going x greater than 2. So I'm going to come down here to where my horizontal line is. Starts right here. This is at x equals 2, and I want to see y equals -1. So I want to see my horizontal line from right here going on forever to +infinity. Now, this is an open circle right here on my horizontal line. But at x equals 2 for my linear function, it's a colored in circle. So I've got to stay colored in. Remember that closed circle overtakes open circle. So I need to do my horizontal line from -2 to +infinity. Now if you want to leave these other dots on here, that's fine. But if you can tell the colored part, I have my -x minus 4 is from x being less than -2, so that means from -infinity up to -2, and it's not included, so I have an open circle. The next graph, I have y equals -1/2 x. That line is slanting negative like it's supposed to. I started it at the origin and did my translation, my stuff that I needed to do to it, and I only want that on the intervals -2 to 2. And then f of x equals -1 is a horizontal line dropping down to -1. Normally it goes all the way across, but in this instance it says I only want to see that horizontal line where x is greater than 2. Sorry, I just shot y'all a bird. I didn't mean to do that. F of x equals -1 where x is greater than 2. So here's my horizontal line. So that is what that graph should look like. Now I want you to go try to find the domain and the range, and we will talk about that on Thursday.